Hey, welcome. We're about to jump into a really big question, one that gets to the absolute core of business and design, and that is, where does value really come from? We think we have a handle on this. It's the price on the sticker, isn't it? Or, how useful a product is. But what if I told you the true source of value isn't made in a factory at all, but happens in the space between people?
And this, right here, just lays it all out. We're in the middle of this massive shift, moving away from thinking of value as this fixed, transactional thing a company slaps on a product and seeing it for what it is, something relational, something that emerges, something we actually create together.
Okay, so let's get into it, because this isn't some brand new idea. It's really an evolution in thinking that's been going on for a long, long time. And once you see it, trust me, it changes how you look at everything.
This whole journey is pretty fascinating. We started with what they call value in exchange. Super simple. A company makes a hammer, you buy the hammer, boom, value exchanged. Then things got a little smarter with value in use. The idea that, hey, the value isn't the hammer itself, it's what you do with it. But now we're at this incredible new frontier, value in context, where the value of that hammer completely changes depending on who you're building with, what you're building, and why it matters to you both.
For ages, this goods-dominant logic was king. A company makes a thing, puts it in a box, you buy the box. The value is literally inside the box. It's clean, it's easy, but it's also missing a huge piece of the puzzle.
And then along came this totally different way of seeing things, service-dominant logic. And it basically says we never really just buy goods, we're always buying the service they provide. You don't just buy a drill, you're buying the service of making a hole. See that? The whole focus shifts from the final product to the ongoing process. And that changes the entire game.
But, even understanding that value is created in use still doesn't quite get us there. There's another layer on top of all this, a layer that's way more powerful.
I absolutely love this quote from the research because it just flips your brain upside down. Resources, things, they don't just have value. They become valuable. Their worth literally expands and contracts based on the situation and what people are doing. It's not fixed at all.
So let's see how this actually works, starting small. At the micro level, you've got a dyad, just two people, a one-to-one exchange. Think about a designer showing a prototype to a user. Right there, in that conversation, in that feedback loop, value is being created by both of them.
But this is where it gets really wild. Zoom out a bit to the Meso level, and we add a third person, making a triad. Now value gets shaped by people who might not even talk to each other directly. Imagine a project manager makes a decision. That decision totally changes the dynamic between a designer and an engineer, even if the manager isn't in the room. That's indirect value creation. And then you zoom all the way out to the macro level, and what you see is that value isn't one little transaction. It's this living, breathing thing that just emerges from this tangled web of direct and indirect connections, a whole service ecosystem where everyone is constantly influencing everyone else.
So the big takeaway here is just profound. Your customer, your user, they're not an island. You can't design for them in a vacuum anymore. You have to design for their entire world, their network, their culture, all the things that actually define what value even means to them in the first place.
Okay, I know. This might be sounding a little theoretical, a bit abstract, right? But what's so cool is that there are actual, practical tools we can use to see this stuff and start working with it.
So this really becomes the million-dollar question for anyone trying to build something meaningful today. How do we stop just designing for a simple purchase and start designing for the rich, messy context of people's lives? Well, the answer is a process called Effectual Stakeholder Mapping. It's a way to actually draw out these value networks. You just break every relationship down into 4 key steps. Step 1, who are the actual humans involved? 2, what's the real problem here? 3, what would a great solution look like? And 4, and this is important, what happens if we just fail? And there it is. That's the secret sauce. This is the absolute heart of the whole thing. The goal isn't just to fix a problem, to provide a functional solution. The real goal is to find a way to make every single person involved in that interaction genuinely feel better off.
This idea of feel better off is the new North Star. It's the ultimate way to measure value. It's not about features. It's not about efficiency. It's about whether your solution leaves people feeling more capable, more confident, more connected, just in a better state of being. That is real value.
And on the flip side of that coin, you have to understand the affordable loss.
By really digging into the negative consequences, the frustration, the wasted energy, that feeling of being stuck, we get a clear picture of the stakes. We see what everyone stands to lose if we don't create that feel better off moment together.
So when you're done with this mapping, what you have isn't some neat and tidy flowchart. It's what the researchers call a crazy quilt, this beautiful, messy, and totally honest picture of all the human commitments and relationships that are actually going to make or break your service.
So where does all this leave us? What does this mean for how we actually build things now? Well, it points to a completely new way of working.
So let's just boil it all down. Takeaway number 1, value is not a feature you ship, it's an experience you create with people. 2, context is everything. The social world around your user is what determines value. 3, that means we have to design for relationships, not just for transactions. And finally, number 4, our real job is to focus on making people feel better off. That's how you create value that actually lasts.
And that kind of leaves us with this one big, exciting question to chew on. What happens when we really make this shift? What new businesses, what new ideas, what incredible possibilities open up when we stop just selling products and start helping people create value within their own complex, messy, and wonderful human worlds?